title changed. That was the title of my last stream. This is not going to stop. Thank you very much for the 41 months. Thank you so much, my friend. Testing 1, 2. There we go. That sounds a lot better. Greetings and hello, everybody. Welcome to Wonderland Gaming. Hold on just a second. Hey! Hi, everybody. Greetings and hello, everybody. Welcome to Wonderland Gaming. I'm your hostess, Alice. This is my big ugly face. I hope everybody's having a great one. Hi, Leah Powell. Hello, I saw Sofa Queen. Not the King. Nope, not her. Sofa Queen snuck in. She's in second there. And Vim is redeeming first and also 41 months. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody, for the first ever. This is the first ever WonderTalk. This is a little bit different of a thing that we've ever done before. Wow, Psycho coming in with 31 months, and we're right off the bat. We have a freaking hype train. Well, thank you guys. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Hey, Psycho. 31 months. That's like 18 years. Thank you so much. And Leia. Holy crap! For 6 months in advance. Jesus. Well, thank you so much, Leia. Holy cow. All right. Guys, that was super unexpected. Thank you so much. Welcome, everybody, to the first annual. No, it's monthly. What is it when it's monthly? It's not annual, right? Anyway, whatever it is, hey, you are very supportive. You were super supportive, and I appreciate you so much. Thank you. You're helping me continue doing this. I'm a little nervous if you guys can't tell, but we're going to go ahead and get started here in just a minute. So this is the very first, what I'm calling WonderTalk. It's like a TED Talk, except you guys get to talk back at me. We're going to talk about different subjects over time. Some subjects we'll be familiar with, some we won't. But I will give a short introduction to what that is. And today's topic is intersectionality. I can speak, I swear, it'll be fine. This is a topic that I did through what we call the Pride ERG at work. And I'm using the slide deck that I used at work. It's very short, so you guys don't have to worry about that. But the great thing about this is that the whole point is for me to get interaction from you guys. I want to hear what you have to say, or at least what you have to type about this subject, and how it impacts you, or has impacted you in the world, or how it will affect you going forward. How can we make this world a better place with knowledge? Because there's a ton of ignorance going around out there. And the best way I know of to combat ignorance is with knowledge, not with violence, but with knowledge, right? So that's what we're really looking at doing today. And I'm going to hop right into it. So I hope you guys are ready for this. I can see people chatting on either side of me. I've got you on two sides of my monitors so I can keep an eye on things. Thank you so very much. Keep up the chatting. Let's see what we can do here. Hold on just a minute. Boop. Can you guys see? Yeah, but I need to get the hell out of the way. I'm gonna hide over here. We're gonna move kitty cam. I forgot that was even a command. All right. How long is this? This is great. Shut up. Okay. No, in all seriousness, Renaissance Pride ERG, actually just Alice Wonderland Gaming, presents an LGBTQIA plus Pride Month event. We did this in June. It's not June anymore, but just pretend. All right. So intersectionality, a lunch. It's actually closer towards dinner, and discuss topic, our agenda. We're going to be doing some setting of some expectations. I think every good talk should begin with that. And then a discussion on what is intersectionality, and then a brief history of intersectionality. Why is this important? Who came up with the term? Why are we talking about this in the first place? I'm saying why a lot. Let's go ahead and figure out what that is. And I want to hear from you guys. How does intersectionality affect you or those you know? And why is this an important topic? I'd like to have these as talking points. Let's think about this. Vinmus, you have plenty of time to make popcorn, as long as plenty of time is within the next 25 minutes or so. So expectations. There are no expectations. Everybody go home. We're done. I'm just kidding. Don't go home. Please stay here. But if you're home already, that's totally fine. Tune in from home. But just don't, if you're not at home and you're already here, don't leave. Because, yeah. Anyway, you're not smart enough for these kinds of psycho. That is not true. All right. This is not a one-way sit and listen meeting. As I said, this is interactive. I want to hear what you guys have to say. But follow the 3 rules. What are the 3 rules? 3 rules are: rule number 1, be kind to yourself, psycho. Rule number 2, be kind to others. And number 3, be respectful. So please follow those 3 rules. You're a neurodivergent pan woman with 2 male-dominated into male-dominated injuries. Actually, that is absolutely true. You are. Never, also bever. Fair. Rule 3, be sexy. Being sick, you can be respectful and sexy at the same time. I think I'm doing it. I'm rocking the sexy today, aren't I? Feel free to share your experiences. Again, this is not just me talking, so keep the chat coming. I will read what you have to say, and we will talk about what you have to say. We want to hear from you. We each have a story to tell. Yours is no less important than anybody else's, so don't be sitting there in the back. I don't know what the back means in this case with Twitch, but just don't be sitting there thinking, oh God, nobody wants to hear from me because I'm always quiet and being loud is terrible and nobody wants to hear what I have to say. I want to hear what they have to say. I don't care what anybody else says. You know what? Everybody else here could be like, I don't care what that person has to say. I want to hear what you have to say. And that's all that matters. It's my channel. JT's loud. Oh, yeah. Well, he does the yelling. Yeah, he's kind of bombastic, a lot like I am. Perhaps even more than I am. So let's get right into it. What is intersectionality? According to Merriam-Webster, let's just start with the dictionary definition here. Intersectionality is the complex, cumulative way in which the effects of multiple forms of discrimination, such as racism, sexism, classism, combine, overlap, or intersect, especially in the experience of marginalized individuals or groups. So what are we talking about? We're talking about people that belong to one or more than one, I should say, a minority group. So they might be a person of color. They might be a woman in a male-dominated society. They might be of a minor nationality. They might be on the LGBT rainbow spectrum as far as sexuality or gender goes. Or they might have some sort of disability. And what we're talking about is a special type of discrimination that comes with belonging to more than one group at the same time. I myself am a trans lesbian. And if you don't think I see multiple forms of discrimination because of that, that's because I'm lucky. But it does exist. All right. Cycling can be quiet or drunk, but not both. That is correct. I can witness that. Absolutely. All right. So moving forward, there's not a lot of slides, so we'll just zip right on through these. All right. So when we're talking about intersectionality, the first name that's going to come up in any Google search anywhere or any kind of research at all is this person, Kimberly Crenshaw. I have no idea if that's how you pronounce her name. If I'm mispronouncing it, I apologize. It is not through any kind of prejudice. I just don't know the lady. But she says, she didn't say this, sorry. This is from the Roots of Intersectionality, University of Rochester School of Nursing. And they said that the origin of intersectionality is attributed to the work of civil rights scholar and activist Kimberly Crenshaw, professor of law at Columbia University and University of California, Los Angeles. Los Angeles, not Los Angeles. Ignore the T on that. You could also be touched if you're drunk, correct? All right. Crenshaw coined the term intersectionality to describe a specific form of discrimination where a person being discriminated against because they belong to multiple minority groups. She used the example from DeGraff and Reed versus General Motors, a case where GM was accused of discrimination for not hiring a black woman. The court sided with GM because they employed black people and they employed women. That's not what we're talking about. That's not why she was discriminated against. She wasn't discriminated because she was a black person. She wasn't discriminated against because she was a woman. She was discriminated against because she belongs to both groups at the same time. And that was the problem. And at the time, we didn't have this term of intersectionality, legally or otherwise, to explain to people, but that this is a thing. I didn't even know this was a thing until my secretary of the Pride ERG, a beautiful woman by the name of Joy Gillespie. She is an amazing human being. I absolutely adore her. And she faces, she is a lesbian woman of color, and short. I didn't even think about the shortness, but she goes, I get microaggressions every day, is what she said, due to a combination of all of those things. And it's something that she has to actively defend herself against. So anyway, that's what we're talking about. This is the person that came up with the term and really started raising awareness. And here's what blew my mind. This case was 1984. I was 10 years old. I was in the midst of being told that all this kind of nonsense was in our past, that the civil rights movement had abolished most forms of discrimination, except in specific pockets of ignorance. I don't consider General Motors and the U.S. court system to be a small pocket of prejudice or ignorance. This was a shock to me. I love me some lesbians of any color. You know what's funny is white is in this instance is never mind. Anyway, so yeah, I was shocked. I'm sorry, I was raised very, 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 very privileged, and shock comes as a result of being lied to and being privileged. I didn't know any better. So, that is fantastic. Did not mean to click on that link. You know what's funny is when I was practicing this, I also clicked on that link. You think I would have fixed that by now, but no, I didn't. Excellent. This is what happens when we look at things. Nope, 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 nope. Oh my God, why? Jesus Christ, Alice. Where is it? Okay, fantastic. It's gone forever. Here, let's hit the back button. Nope, not there. We'll just do this. This is going well. I'm excited. How about you guys? Are you guys excited? You think this is going well so far? All the tabs. Yeah. Let's get back to where we were. Oh my God. All right. Next thing I want to talk about is the Combahee River Collective. I couldn't alt tab. It was in the same window, unfortunately. Fantastic. It corrupted my thing. It's not here. I don't know why it's not here, but it's not here. That's it. It's broken. Excellent. Well, then Alice is going to wing it very quickly. So the Combahee River Collective were a collective of Black feminists 10 years before the term intersectionality was coined back in 1974, the year I was born. And this is a group of Black lesbians who are feminist. And what they were noting was that they would go to a rally for civil rights for Black people, and they weren't wanted because they were women. And then they would go to a feminist rally to get equal rights for women, and they weren't wanted because they were Black. So I wanted to highlight that Kimberly's work from my other slide is built off of the work of this collective of people. Yes, lots of how dare you have a JJ stuff going on. And it isn't just necessarily, the rainbow spectrum. It isn't just not necessarily, women of color. It isn't necessarily people of color. It could be anything. It could be a person with some sort of a man of color with a disability. It could be a lesbian with a disability. It could be a gay person with who is Hispanic. All of these things combine, right? And form a newer, more powerful, uglier version of prejudice. And this is what I wanted to talk about. This is what I wanted people to put forth is has this affected you guys at all, or anybody you know? This is the talk I wanted to have. Why is this important to know these things? I can tell you that it's important to me because, like I said, I didn't know it was a thing. And if I don't know it's a thing, I can't speak about it. I can't have it as part of my truth that this is something we need to defend against. And it absolutely is something we need to defend against. We do. We need to stop history from repeating itself because we're getting really good at the repeating part, aren't we? Aren't we, though? Because things are getting a little scary out there. Culture F change. Culture. Fucking change. That's right. So I don't know if anybody has experienced this. Don't be. I can tell you how this has affected me. Now, let me explain something to put things in perspective. Until I was 38 years old, I was unaware that I was trans. So at that point, Up to that point, I was a cis straight male, middle class, privileged. Period, end of story. Always considered myself an ally. That doesn't mean I'm not privileged. That's just a fact of the matter. From 38 to 48, I was a heavily closeted trans lesbian. I can tell you from experience. You know who generally isn't very welcoming of trans lesbians? Yeah, lesbian feminists tend to, this is a general statement, I want to be very clear. They don't typically want me around. And if you want to know, if you want to see an example, or feminists in general, I guess, if you want to know a classic example of that, you can look no further than J.K. Rowling. Yeah. She has a lot to say about trans women and the rights of women in general. And it's difficult. If I was a lesbian, I would be fine in her book. If I was just a woman in her eyes, that would be totally fine. But I'm not. I was born with a penis. And here's the part that I really want to challenge her with one day. She's prejudging me because I have a penis. By definition, what she is doing, by dismissing what I have to say, by dismissing what I have to think, by dismissing my discourse entirely, and just blanket statements saying that I am a problem to the rights of women all over the world. That's prejudicial, folks. And I'm sorry, but if that's what she's all about, I don't want anything to do with it. Leah, really? Why is that? Can you elaborate on that a bit? So, yes, you can. Excellent. Please do. Oh my goodness. I love your enthusiasm. While she is typing, anybody else have anything to add? Cis women are pretty judgy. They can be. Absolutely. Jesus Christ. Why do I... The first thing Psycho says, and I have to allow it through the filter. Oh. That is privilege. If you were able to look down your nose and see that you are better than other people. And here's the thing. It's so easy to do when you're with your friends, isn't it? It really is. When somebody's acting weird or doing something weird near you, what do you want to do when you're out with your friends? You want to whisper, "Oh my God, look what that person's doing over there. That's so weird. Who puts mashed potatoes in their soda? That's so weird." That is kind of weird, actually, I have to admit. But you never know who's listening or who knows what you're doing. I was driving back from Indianapolis, actually right after giving this talk, as a matter of fact, and I stopped at a Buc-ee's. I stopped at a Buc-ee's because, interestingly enough, it's not very safe for me to stop at most gas stations to relieve myself, refill my tank, and then drive home safely. So I do it at a Buc-ee's 24 hours a day, and it's heavily populated, lots of people around. Usually people keep their mouth shut because either it's too late or too crowded for people to be messing with other people. But I'm sitting there filling my drink. And so I'm at the fountain, the soda fountain. And you guys have been to soda fountains before. And I look up and I can see the group of teenagers that had just gotten their drinks, and they were over there putting their lids on or whatever. And there's lots of snickering because teenagers think they're fucking sneaky, and they're just not sneaky. Sorry, not being prejudicial at all here. Y'all are a fucking bunch of goons. And it's fine. Usually I think that kind of tomfoolery is hilarious, and that's great. But they were pointing at me and whispering and giggling and tittering behind their mouth or behind their hand. I'm sitting there. I don't know these people. I don't know them from Adam. But they found a way in their own privileged world to try to make me feel smaller, to make them feel bigger. And I knew they were doing it. I didn't make a scene because that would not have worked out well for me. But here's my thing, I guess. If you're out acting the fool, and trust me, I get up to being a fool when I'm out in public. But every once in a while, do a reality check. If somebody stopped me right now, said, "What are you doing?" Would I be proud of the answer? Let me see. Whereas trans women and LGBTQ are 9 times out of 10 wanting acceptance of themselves more than judging. And really nice Buc-ee's does have nice bathrooms to boot for sure. The older I get, the less I like straight people. Your husband's straight, I'm pretty sure. I'm just throwing that out there. And he's kind of amazing, actually. He is an amazing human being. I absolutely adore Martin. I have tagged him on Facebook. If you have not met Martin Powell or know who this man is, you need to look him up. He's kind of an amazing human being. Show enough. That's right. Yeah. And that's why she said most, right? We speak of generalities because it makes it easier to have a discussion. It's not the same thing as prejudice, right? That doesn't mean every time Leia goes up to what she assumes to be a straight woman, that she expects them to be closed-minded. At least I hope she doesn't. I wouldn't. I don't. When I see a bunch of teenagers together, I'm cautious for my own protection because I'm emotionally fragile. It's not their problem. That's my problem. But I don't expect them to make fun of me every time they see me. And most don't. Most have the class not to. Now, here's the flip side of that. They could have been tittering and doing all of that because they could have been saying things like, "Oh my God, she's gorgeous. I had no idea they could look so pretty." She's so hot, I want to tell her, but I'm too embarrassed to. He's unacceptable because he did stage theater and he loves gay folks. It is very difficult to do theater of any kind and not like gay people because theater. But so I prejudged looking, right? So I didn't make a big scene. God knows what I was going to walk into. They might have just been totally fine. And if I had made a scene, it'd be like, "Oh my God, trans people are bitches." See? You never know what you're going to walk into. But has anybody else experienced any kind of remarks, prejudicial or otherwise, or know somebody who has undergone any kind of prejudice? I'm interested to hear from you guys. Or I have a better one for you all. Hold on, I need a drink. I am prejudging this can of Dr. Pepper because I prejudged it to be delicious, and it is. What I want you to think about, what I think about a lot, is specifically this subject, intersectionality. When you see somebody or talk to somebody who has some sort of disability, right? And they might be pansexual. They might be a person of color. They might be a woman. Any kind of minority. right? Think about not just what they have to go through simply because of their disability, or not simply because they are on the rainbow spectrum or that they're a person of color, but how they are as an entire human being. And what I find interesting about that is that prejudice in general tends to do the opposite, doesn't it? When you talk about prejudice without the D, you're talking about people that judge a book by its cover, right? They see one aspect of a person, and all of their interactions are tainted by that, right? That's just seeing one aspect of a human being, and then, blowing that way out of proportion, as if the fact that this person is gay is the only thing that they are as a human being, and that makes them trash, right? But when we're talking about somebody with multiple reasons, multiple identities that they own that make them less desirable by society as a whole, then we treat them differently as a whole collection of all their undesirable traits, and we treat them differently as because of it. Poor kid at the rich school, oddly enough, but I feel like that just highlights my privilege even more. It does and it doesn't. Sofa. I do believe prejudice can be situational, right? It absolutely can be. If you think about it, if you have a white person go to the bad part of town, some bad stuff can happen to them. Anytime that the motivations of a person's hatred are based on their superficial traits, that's prejudice, right? I'm not as privileged as you are. Therefore, you are going to treat me lesser because of it. I am not as deserving as you are because you're rich, which makes no sense since you could already afford, by definition, more things. I don't know. But absolutely that counts. And it's unfortunate. I did promise to keep this down to 30 minutes. And first of all, I want to thank you all for participating. I did ask for a whole bunch of people to come in. I'm glad that you guys were able to make it. I have some thoughts about this topic in general. But I still want to hear from you guys. And what I'd like is if you can, most of you know my Discord. Please head over to my Discord and either message me privately or publicly on my general chat. Let me know what you think about doing this. I want to do this on a monthly basis. We do it when I run over the time. Well, that's because I talk too much. Everybody knew that. But I have some takeaways of my own. I think this works better when I have one or more people live with me to interact with. I still want to hear from you guys in the chat. And we may even expand this so that if somebody has a story that they want to tell, they can get on to the Discord and they can actually tell the chat. They could talk instead of just having to type it all out. But overall, I feel better having done this. I hope you guys do too. And I need to hear from you. I can't have you be silent. I need to hear from you and know, yes, this was valuable. No, it wasn't valuable, but it would be if you did this other thing instead, Alice. Alice, this was actually absolutely terrible. Please just stick with playing games. Whatever it is, it's actually on your mind. All right. I need to hear from you about that. We're going to go ahead and whiten this down. But I want to hear from you guys, like I said. Yeah, have it on Discord so we can all talk. Crime, Psycho, probably crime. All of the crime. Yeah, absolutely. All right. Don't go anywhere, guys that are able to stay. I am going to go ahead and stream regularly tonight. But I want this separated in YouTube. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the stop button here. I'll be back in just a few minutes. Thank you, guys.